Mr. Speaker, the government is refusing to answer a very simple question. Who are the 11 election candidates who in the 2019 election received hundreds of thousands of dollars funneled by Beijing through its Toronto consulate? Yesterday, the Prime Minister talked to President Xi about these 11 candidates, but the government and the Prime Minister has yet to tell this House who these 11 candidates are. What are they hiding?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And any kind of foreign interference is a threat to our democracy. We must stand together. It's a threat to every single member of this House, and I implore the members on the other side to stand together with all members of this House to fight foreign interference, which only goal is to sow chaos and destroy our democracy, and we will never tolerate it, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Wellington, Halton Hills.
Mr. Speaker, we have been asking for years for a plan from this government to combat Beijing's meddling in our democracy, but they have failed to act. And now we have a situation where candidates are receiving illicit funds from Beijing funneled through its Toronto consulate. Canadians deserve answers. Who are these candidates? Are they members of this House? Are they going to be candidates in the next federal election? Again, Mr. Speaker, who are these 11 election candidates?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, and again I will suggest that we need to step back and remember what is motivating foreign interference. Foreign interference is designed to sow chaos and to destroy every fabric of our democracy, Mr. Speaker. We are taking action.
I'm sure the Honourable Member for Wellington Halton Hills wants to hear the answer. Please. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary may start right from the top so we can hear the whole answer at once.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I'm disappointed that the honourable members don't want to hear the answer to that question. Foreign interference is something that is an attack on every single member of this House. It is an attack on our very fabric of our democracy. We must stand together. We must stand as one against any kind of foreign interference. Our national security agencies continue to monitor and react to threats from foreign bad actors. Mr. Speaker, Canadians expect us to work together on this and to stand united against foreign interference. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Mégantic-L'Érable. Mr. Speaker, I'm disappointed that the government refuses to reveal the names of the 11 candidates who were funded by the Beijing communist regime. The idea is that they should be transparent and open with Canadians and tell the truth. The Prime Minister was told in January who the 11 candidates were who were funded by Beijing's communist regime. Why is he protecting the names of those candidates, Mr. Speaker? What is the Prime Minister trying to hide? The Honourable Minister of Innovation. I'd like to thank my colleague for his question. I have a lot of respect for him. But on issues like this, Mr. Speaker, we need to stick to the facts. I think it's dangerous to politicize an issue like this one, Mr. Speaker. We're talking about democracy, about foreign interference. I would invite my colleagues on the other side of the House not to play political games. These are very important issues to all Canadians who are listening today, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Member for Mégantic-L'Érable. Mr. Speaker, transparency is not a game. We were informed that in 2019 there was a network of clandestine candidates funded by the communist regime in China. The Prime Minister did nothing. And in 2021, they started it all over again, influencing the elections again, Mr. Speaker. And the result? Nobody's been prosecuted. Nobody's been convicted. And we need to send a message that we will never tolerate any interference in any foreign interference in our elections. What are the Liberals trying to hide, Mr. Speaker? The Honourable Minister. Mr. Speaker, we fully agree that on an issue like this, transparency is important. But, Mr. Speaker, I should tell my colleague that on both sides of the House, we will never accept foreign interference in our democracy. Everyone here agrees on that. We are going to take action accordingly, and I would invite all members of the House not to play political games with such a fundamental issue as Canadian democracy. 10 months ago, CSIS informed the Prime Minister of allegations that a foreign government had interfered in our elections with financing, illegal financing. So the Prime Minister should have informed the Chief Electoral Officer so that that could be investigated.
Inform the Commissioner of Canada Elections to instigate an investigation after he became aware almost 10 months ago of allegations of illegal foreign funding.
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Monsieur le Président, notre gouvernement.
Mr. Speaker, our government understands that there are dictatorships in the world that are actively trying to undermine democracies. I studied in under an authoritarian communist regime, the Soviet Union, and I have no illusions about the nature of those systems. Our national security agencies are actively monitoring the threat posed by these regimes.
Last January, the Prime Minister was briefed by CSIS that at least 11 candidates in the 2019 election received hundreds of thousands of dollars directed and funneled through Beijing's Toronto consulate. Given that this violates multiple sections of the Canada Elections Act, upon learning of this illegal activity, did the Prime Minister report it to Elections Canada?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Service.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me be clear. Canada's fair and free election process was never compromised, and this was determined by an independent panel of national security experts. The only one who benefits from foreign interference are enemies of democracy. These attacks are an attack on all members of Parliament, and we can't afford to play partisan games on this issue, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for St. Albert, Edmonton.
Speaker, hundreds of thousands of dollars were directed and funneled by Beijing to 11 candidates. If that isn't foreign interference, I don't know what is. And talk about a non-answer. I asked a specific question about whether the Prime Minister acted or failed to act. So again, upon being briefed by CSIS, did the Prime Minister report this illegal activity to Elections Canada, yes or no?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, protecting Canada's democracy is something that we take very seriously. On this side of the House, on that side of the House, we should all condemn foreign interference because the ones that benefit are not anyone in this House, Mr. Speaker. If enemies of democracy, they are trying to damage our democratic process here in Canada. We will always stand up for democracy, and I invite all members of this House to stand with us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.